Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Shawn Xavien,
And the storyteller.
and this is the Hot Tea Podcast presents Hot Takes, where we give our take on whatever we deem as hot. And today we got another one for you. It's more like a review, spoiler-free review, by the way. So don't be,
Spoiler free.
yeah, we don't do that type of stuff here. But it's going to be James Gunn and Marvel Studios' iconic series so far, Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3, that just dropped this past Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It dropped up to a big opening. I believe I saw something like 114 million opening.
Mm.
It might
Yep.
be a little bit more now. Um, but let's get right on into it, man. How'd you how'd you feel about the film, man?
listen, listen. Let me just make sure that you're getting it all. Listen, that thing was a standing ovation. It was much needed. Um, this was a very, how can I say it, proud moment, but
Mm-hmm.
sad moment at the same time because James Gunn is gone. And I
Right.
mean, you want to talk about a drop the mic moment? This was a drop the mic moment. Just trying to stay in my own mind, so I make sure I'm not spoiling anything. But I'll just say, let's just jump right into the fact of just trilogy by itself.
Yes.
The only thing that I am honestly sitting back and going, is it better than that? Is Captain America.
Mm.
Besides that, bro, he got it from me. And I got to see it a couple more times. I've seen the Cap series so many times,
Yeah.
so I just got to see it a couple more times, put them all together, maybe watch them all in a row. Um, but yeah, it's that good and it's that entertaining. What's your
I
take?
like it. I like it from the standpoint of even without spoiling it.
Mm-hmm.
We know this was the last Guardians. It's been said.
Right.
Um, but I didn't walk away from it like I walked away from Doctor Strange because we had all these implications and stuff that was going to potentially happen, and I walked away from the film severely underwhelmed. And
Mm.
but when I watched Guardians, it it could have been by itself. Like it could have just been its own thing without the rest of the MCU. That's why it was so good. The storytelling was great, and the High Evolutionary actor who played them, and I can't even pronounce his name, so I'm not even gonna tear it up. Um, but man, oh man, he showed his whole ass. Like
Mm-hmm.
he dove right into that character, man.
You know what? Just stay right there for a moment. So this was one of the things that scared me about the Guardians, especially Volume 3 coming in,
Mm-hmm.
was the fact of the villain. I
Right,
knew who the High Evolutionary was supposed to be.
right.
After seeing how Kang was portrayed in Ant-Man, I sat back and I was like, oh man, are they going to downplay this? How's it going to be?
Yeah.
And this is something that I could easily say about the film and especially what he brought out of the film. The film was so raw
Yes.
and uncut. You know how we say unfiltered conversation? That was an unfiltered movie
Yes.
from the start to finish, and that's what I loved about it. This was straight up a James Gunn, I'm out, so it really don't matter type thing. That's tell me it wasn't. It
It
was
was.
I'm out.
It was.
So it's not to go towards like football, get on track or anything, but like Commanders with their owner, like, look, I'm out.
Yep.
I do whatever I want to do. That's how James Gunn was in that seat. Like, and if you try to, stop me on it, everybody's gonna be mad at you, just like how when you let me go.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
there was.
I want this to come out, and man, the High Evolutionary. Let me tell you why I was so proud of this. He was one of the first villains that you have seen in the MCU that there was no empathy for.
Right.
Absolutely nothing. There was no straight reasoning where you're sitting back going, okay, I
I
understand that.
understand.
No, he
Right.
was a villain.
Yes. Yes.
He was a villain. If you came out of there liking him in general in that type of sense, there's something wrong. He was a villain to a
Yes.
T. And that's what I loved about it in that sense. But this is the other thing, and we can kind of answer this towards the end of the take, or you can answer it now. We can't get away from the fact that all this stuff is going on with Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
And you got Kang out there, and he's supposed to be, the villain throughout this whole saga, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know where they're going to take it. Plus, with the writer's strike and everything, things are going to get delayed.
Right.
Let me tell you something. He could be that villain, bro, and
He
I will
could.
follow him anywhere.
Yeah.
That's how well they put this story out there. I don't want to go too long on it, but how did you feel about it?
I love, for one, you can, if you've watched Peacemaker, this film had, you recognize this film. As I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, this could have been on HBO Max without the, extra adult stuff. This is a PG-13 film, but
Just
just
PG-13.
but if you throw language in it, you know, profanity and whatnot, this could have easily been a rated R film just for how intense it is. I remember when I gave my review on the Batman 2 years ago, I guess it was. It it got close. It was really intense. So
Mm-hmm.
I will say, if you have young kids, there's going to be some scenes where it's going to be a lot. It's going to evoke some
This was
cringing.
one of those Disney saying to him, as long as you still keep it PG-13,
Right.
you
Yeah.
can just ride with it. And this is one of those, he shot the scene, sent it off, and was like, hey, is that all right?
I call
How
this the
far can I go?
equivalent. This is the equivalent. This is like a PG-13 with a learner's permit to drive, because he was getting real close on a couple of
Yeah.
those things. Um, I know there's been reports out and stuff that they send out, say if you're an animal lover, you may find some of this stuff, a little bit. It's a little rough if you're it is, man. It showed you what it does. It shows you the best part of, if you call humans or people, because you can relate to that. But it also shows you
Oh,
the
yeah.
worst part of humans as well. How we can be. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
some of they can be their characters and aliens, force and stuff like that. But it shows you really, man, of what humanity and
It's,
lack thereof
it's
at
hard to
times.
make things perfect. Hint, hint. We'll
Absolutely,
just say that.
absolutely. The film itself, again, I don't want to go there because I don't want to spoil it. But again, like I said, it could have been a standalone
Touch on
film
the emotion
itself.
of it.
The it I feel like it's funny because of course Vin Diesel plays Groot,
Mm-hmm.
and of course Vin Diesel is all in on this Fast and Furious franchise, and it's always the family thing, and you know how the memes come out about that. So it's interesting that in this film it has a very, very big sense of family amongst the Guardians,
Mm-hmm.
and the emotions it has you on edge at times when you get
Yeah.
choked up in this film. And I felt this way on Guardians Volume 2. The whole, with Ego, and then
With his dad. Yep.
with his dad and stuff like that, and then of course how his relationship between Quill and I forget his name now. That was a big thing. I took the time and saw that with my son, and I remember, having tears watching Volume 2. This one
Mm-hmm.
here at times, man, it's there. I'll say this though, and this thing got nothing to do with nothing, I guess. And I know they're all getting older, but certain characters, man, they've changed a bit physically. Like they've gained some weight. Like Drax got a little chunky. He has gotten a bit chunky, man. And I don't know if you guys
Listen,
noticed it. He's gained weight a bit. You know.
listen. Let me touch on two things that you were going into. First off, on the emotion side of it. Um, This is how you can tell some great storytelling.
Yes.
You fell in love with characters to the point of caring about everything that was going on with them, good or bad. And
Yep.
a lot of us came into it not knowing much about each and every one of them. Think about
Right.
that. From the very get-go, people were like, when Guardians first rolled out, oh shoot, I gotta go look this up. You had to really get entwined with it. Man, the emotion is real. My son broke down. Cam broke down, man.
Mm.
He was the pieces in there. You would have thought it was like Endgame or something all over again. But if we want to talk about characters and the 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 whole arc of it all, as far as the storytelling, you want to know who was my number one coming out of this, and then me thinking back to where the person came from to where it all ended. Nebula, bro.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
whole thing, man. Listen, listen. Nebula was it for me.
Yeah.
Everything that she was doing, I was in tune with and just loving, because a lot of people, they're going into this volume 3. Okay, this is going to be Rocket's story, which it is.
Hmm.
That's not a spoiler, which it is.
Right.
But at the same time, while it is, it isn't, because everybody had their part
They
and
did.
everybody got their shine. And I'm telling you, I came out of this going, I need Nebula somewhere. I need I need that
Right.
somewhere, bro. So, how'd you feel on it? Who was somebody that really built up through the series for you?
Um, I mean, Rocket has always been the evolution of Rocket has always been dope. Um, it was is the it was the flip side of it, but we know why. Gamora, really. Um, we know what happened in Infinity War and Endgame, but like the reverse course on that. So it's been interesting to see how um she went from one extreme to now kind of like falling to the back, to say the least. So her character arc, and then it kind of like dropping off, allowing for everybody else um to kind of like to flourish. And from even Mantis has grown quite a bit. um
Yeah,
yeah, so it was, I think for me though, and I think I was so vested in him because we didn't get his full backstory. It really was Rocket for me. Rocket, it was you see him having that hardened shell, and then we see his potential. We saw what his story is going to be. But you guys are in for a treat. You guys are
yeah.
absolutely in for a treat, man. I give it a solid 9, man. And only reason I give it a 9, I give it a 9. I guess we'll do a follow up to explain it. But I give it a 9 for one simple reason. Again, just hear what I say.
I think I
It
know
could
where
be
you're about to go.
it could be his own
Let me see.
standalone thing. And I give it a 9 for that aspect. Um, and I'll say again, we talk about it all the time. When you're going to introduce certain characters, I don't like the I guess the watered down aspects of it, because I've read the comics. Now there may be plans in the future, but that's the only thing I'm having an issue with the evolution of Marvel, as the characters get bigger and badder, how they're portrayed on film, matters.
I think for the person that you're talking about, I do
Hmm.
agree.
Right.
Um, but at the end of it, I understood why
Hmm.
the person was introduced in that way. And that's why I give a kind of a leeway to it. But I definitely, without you even saying, I already know what you're talking about. So I definitely agree. Um, there's one thing I do have to say. When you're watching the movie and towards the end, and we'll speak about this more offline because getting deep into this, it will spoil it.
Right.
But just pay attention to a certain scene with Groot,
Hmm.
because a lot of people, I believe, are misunderstanding it. And if you feel like a question mark in a way, go watch some spoiler reviews after you see it
Right.
to really catch what happened at the end. Because when people realize what happened specifically with him at the end, James Gunn is it, man. He
Yeah.
just it it brought it full circle. So I'll just leave it there. But yeah, I definitely give it a 9.
Yep. And so I guess we can just give you guys our score. That so our hot take score, man. We give it a
Yeah,
solid
man.
9. 9. I mean, it's a the replay value on it is very high,
I
so
gotta
you can
watch
watch
it.
this various time.
Yeah,
The technical
yeah.
stuff, the pace was great, um,
Hmm.
and the soundtrack, as it's always been,
Oh, I mean,
solid to
that's
say the
Cardi.
least. Solid, at least, man. But hey, man, I'm Shawn Xavien.
Storyteller.
Hey, this is the hot takes, hot seat podcast, hot takes.
Yeah.
Make sure, yeah, I messed it all up again. But it's okay. This is what we do, man. Try it again. This is the Hot Seat Podcast presents Hot Takes, man. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel on YouTube at the Hot Seat Podcast. And of course, make sure you guys listen to the Hot Seat Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite shows. Go watch Guardians. It was absolutely fantastic. And we'll see you guys next time, man. Peace.
Peace.